Hello. It's time to officially complete phase 1 of my Cascadia Transit Expansion project. At the moment, you see on your screen, you have the current rail system with Cascadia Ultra High Speed Rail, Cascadia ICE slash IC, so Intercity Express slash Intercity, and of course, Oregon Links, and then of course the Portland Metro, which actually connect quite nicely to various lines of Cascadia Links. And obviously Cascadia Links is also kind of in a phase 1 type of, did I ask? Phase 1 type of thing. Phase 2, just real quack, is going to, of course, be expanding further in terms of rail transit. That's going to be specifically focusing on transit or rail lines, basically, in the Puget Sound region, and obviously up in the Fraser Valley. I do want to show you the actual system of just the two together, because obviously they're going to roughly follow the same trajectory, the same line, and everything with each other, but not necessarily the same stops or the same exact pathing, because there are certain opportunities in certain places where one makes sense over the other to do something different. Therefore, that is why you will see separations here and there. Erstwhile. Erstwhile is completely useless as a statement. I just felt like that was a proper way to end that statement. Now we get on to Cascadia Intercity slash Cascadia Intercity Express Rail. I suppose we'll start up in the Fraser Valley. So, this is definitely a station that I think is a location that most people are going to be like, the fuck is wrong with you type of thing. Why would you put it there? Why wouldn't you do what you do with Cascadia High Speed Rail and actually put it somewhere in, like, at least Burnaby? Or at the airport in Richmond? If not actually in downtown Vancouver. And it's because I'm fat and racist, but also because of the fact that I just want to piss you off. No, those are all lies. Probably. Who knows? I actually think this makes the most sense, especially since you already have one line going up here. You don't want it to be literally necessarily exactly the same. And I also already know that in the Fraser Valley, they are already planning, and they have been for years, but they're already in planning, and I believe they have some funding now to officially not just study, but actually start to potentially do the construction. They might have even already started construction. If somebody's from up there, let me know. But I know it's supposed to, if it hasn't happened yet, it's supposed to start happening soon. A new SkyTrain line is supposed to connect, obviously, from downtown Vancouver, the Cove, through Surrey and into South Surrey, and of course Langley here. So, there you go. I would like to connect to Abbotsford, though. Abbotsford is like, it's not that isolated, but somehow it's like just completely disconnected from any of the Fraser Valley's transit systems, and I just don't really understand it. I can't wrap my brain around that. Yeah, so that's why the location's up here. Plus, obviously, it's in a major intersection vicinity and region. And naturally, it's also going to be in between these two places where they're naturally slowly starting to develop towards. You can see Surrey is slowly developing eastward and southward. And then obviously you can see Langley here. This is all very, very recent subdivision development. Sprawl. So as a result, and this is also very recent, look at that. You can tell how recent that is. That's disgusting looking. I would hate to live in places like this. These especially, these are like straight up Truman Show level, just like cookie cutter copy pastes. Ugly as fuck. Way too close and inside of each other neighbors. That's actually why I hate living in apartments. I don't like, I like living in my space. And by my space, I mean literally it's exclusive to me, and everyone else can go fuck themselves like 5 miles from my border of my property. Thank you, fuck you. Irony that I'm also an urbanist. But anyway, yeah, basically common sense, but also we all have our preferences, and sometimes they contradict each other. Anyway, yeah, so as a result, naturally, the development patterns mean that they are slowly going to close this gap over time, and this would incentivize them to develop up to that station, and then actually have some proper density, like a downtown density type of thing, going on here as well. Not just here, not just down here, which really isn't happening at all so far in Langley, which is despicable, but also up here. So that is why I opted for that. Obviously, I believe it put a station, yes, I put it in White Rock, here up in Canada. So there's a station in White Rock. That's your border station instead of putting one in Blaine, I believe it is. And then, of course, the next station is going to be in Bellevue. And there's 2 different stations in Bellevue for the record. Bellingham. Excuse me. You know what? Close enough. There's bell in the word. It's good enough. Hot. What? Who the fuck is Linden? Wait, did I... Huh? It literally says it's a Linden state. Oh, you know what? I think this is Linden. This is Linden, isn't it? Okay, there we go. There's your option. So that proves it's an option. Sorry. And so that is Mount... I knew that was one of those twin towns. Mount Burlington. And then we also have a station at the next twin town area. So that is Arlington Marysville. And then I have one in South Everett, which is somewhere over the rainbow. Here, I'm assuming. Cool beans. Then we have a North Seattle one right here, which I can't remember the name of this development for some reason, an area. I think it's like Shoreline, I think. And then I do think I'm a skink. And then, of course, we have... See, it's been long enough that I have to remind myself, so bear with me here. I'm almost relearning this with you, of where I put things. But I remember why I did that, because Cascadia High Speed Rail, again, all the videos I'm referencing or pointing out, those are going to be put up in, like, there's going to be a thumbnail of the thumbnail. Close enough. And it's going to be up in the cards in the upper right-hand corner. And then, of course, they're also going to be linked in the description and pinned comment below. There's one in South Seattle, and then there's one in SeaTac. And see how close those are already. So that makes sense that then you put those 2 apart so that it still maintains some decent speed through the area. So instead of downtown Seattle, you don't have that. Plus, obviously, you not just have the Link light rail that will connect you to downtown Seattle properly. You also have the Sounder and all the bus services. So realistically, this shouldn't matter, including directly from SeaTac. So yes, the next one is going to be Federal Way / Dash Point, basically. And then obviously Taco Town right here. There's the good old Taco Dome. They've been talking about like tearing the Taco Dome down for like the last decade and a half, and nothing's happened with it. In fact, if you usually look at the dome itself, that looks like a pretty fucking brand new roof. I'm just saying that you do not look that fucking clean, that kind of roof, especially with our weather, unless they replaced that recently, which tells me that you're not going to make that kind of investment and put that kind of money into that. This also looks recent too. It's supposed to be for like outdoor concerts. It kind of looks like it has this and has this. Yeah, and then this is probably for like loading docks. Yeah, this has got to be for like loading docks for like tour buses and stuff. So they must have added this to the complex, taken out some of the parking, and opted for like event space. And so this is like a concert placement, I'm assuming, which actually makes a lot of sense. I actually like that. If you're going to keep maintaining the property, and again, you invested in this and obviously invested in this, this is clearly recent too. Again, look at the condition. It's brand new pretty much. There ain't no way they're actually going to get rid of the Taco Dome. I think at that point, that just pretty much confirms it. You're not going to put that money into it unless you're intending to maintain it and keep it around. So keep that in mind. Again, it's just development patterns and various little things and details you can notice like that that'll actually tell you what's really going on with that kind of stuff. So that's actually kind of cool to know, though. It's taco time. And then, of course, we go past Joint Base Louis McCord, where there was in 2008 big brush fire along the entire fucking median from like here all the way up through like here. Next one, of course, after Taco Town is, of course, Olympia Lacey. This is actually Olympia proper, downtown Olympia. And then after that is going to be, I believe, Chehalis and all that, right? Yep, Chehalis, Centralia / Ford's Prairie. I always forget the name of this town. It's Ford's Prairie. Actually, I think this is Ford's Prairie. Sorry. And then next after that is, of course, going to be skipping all the way down to Kelso Longview. Wabamski. And realistically, this is the only logical location for a Kelso Longview station because, I mean, terrain, development patterns, everything else, state highways. It's not really viable to take any other route other than the freeway route. And obviously, these are too herky-jerky curvy, so naturally, you're going to bypass those as well. I like how the station's curved like this, though, for me to, intending for me to do this anyway. But, I could do that, technically. That would technically work. And still pull off what I was doing here. With actually less of an outward curve again, so. But, I didn't do that. I probably should fix that. But anyway. There is that. And then, of course, the next one is going to be Woodland. Because I think most people question, why would you do Woodland? Well, A, it's kind of slightly isolated from the other two stations, and you want to try to prevent people from driving as much as possible. Therefore, you obviously want to give somewhere intermediate like this a station as well. Placenta has two different options. They can go directly into the Vancouver station, or they can go back over here to... actually, this is Placenta, right? This is Placenta, aka La Center. Yeah. So anyway, the point is that you have the option to do this from these towns and areas to go to the Woodland station instead. Then of course you have the Vancouver station, which of course is right here. There's a crossover station with the Metro network, I believe. So you definitely want to check that out. And then of course we have the Portland station, which I undoubtedly put in the main hub complex for the rail systems in the Portland area, which is of course going to be outside of PDX. It's going to be the Rose Quarter complex and Transit Center area, so that's there. Obviously, the next one is going to be Tigard. Specifically, what I like to call the Tiger Triangle, which is this right here of 99, 217, I-5. And technically, sometimes I'll also include it all the way down to the rail line here. But, yeah. Anyway. Then, of course, that means you're going to skip all the way down to Wilsonville. Wabam. And then Woodbine. In fact, I don't even need this anymore. Wabam. I'm more familiar with my own state. How does that work? I wonder why. Woodbine. Salem / Kaiser. Obviously, we're going to have Albany, which, if I recall correctly, is, in fact, right here. Because that's actually where the actual Amtrak station is. And then, of course, we're going to have this one over here, which I've had my first complaint about that location. But, again, like, the roads are so narrow, and you don't want to have to ever try to fight with or follow railroad tracks or try to build over railroad tracks that pre-exist from the cargo rail lines, because they will always be a dick about it and use their monopoly over it and say, absolutely fucking not. This is why in the Portland area, for 7.5 miles straight, between downtown Beaverton and downtown Hillsborough, on the south side of TV Highway, a Strode, there's still no sidewalk. Because the monopoly, that is Genesee and Wyoming, or Genesee and Wyoming, technically so it's said, who owns Pacific and Western, who owns the right-of-way through that area of the rail tracks, they keep using their monopoly powers and saying absolutely fucking not. And it doesn't matter how much bipartisan support it gets, it doesn't matter how much funding it gets, how much political pressure that gets applied, they keep getting their way. So it's just better to just leave them out of it completely and forge your own right-of-way. So that's another reason why I ignore the rail lines through the city. And also, of course, again, the roads, as I commented to that person that was upset about it, the roads here, and including the state highways in Corvallis, is actually quite, not as wide as you think it is. Bend. Anyway, so Corvallis. And then that's your station there, and then you go down. And get yourself a station, bypass Junction City. Get yourself a station, of course, in Eugene, for Eugene Springfield, right here in downtown station. There's also one for Odson. And then, of course, you have the next station in Cottage Grove, which that is not Cottage Grove. Yes, you have the next one in Cottage Grove, which I put it right here. It was actually very difficult for me to place the Cottage Grove station because there's not really much right-of-way to be able to do that with, and I want to try to avoid getting rid of as many trees that are still left over as possible. So that's why I chose this side as well, and that's spot, and site. Spite. Roseburg. I did. Okay, so Roseburg is the next station. Station. And I probably put it somewhere in this vicinity, yeah, because that's as central as I can get. So right next to that graveyard, it looks like that is, but I think that actually might be part of the State Fair site. Well, not State Fair, sorry. I think it's Douglas County. I think it's a Douglas County Fair. And then the next one would be, I'm pretty sure, I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure I remember putting in these like weird city area regions. I know Sutherland's in here, Canyonville's in here, Myrtle Creek is in here. Is it Myrtle Point or Myrtle Creek? One of them's on the coast, or in the Coast Range, and one of them's over here, and I can't remember which one it is. One of the Myrtles, and then we can't remember the other one. So there you go. They get a station because they're nice central intermediate, and this is obviously where you kind of almost have to. Again, I was trying to be like actually logical about this, so I conceded my actual speed for like lower speed curvatures because I didn't want to like be too expensive and be like, yeah, let's just tunnel aggressively for eternity. So this so this is kind of the weaving I did. And then obviously get your long ass tunnel down to another access point where it's flatter and better, which then leads you to, I believe, Grant's Ass. Yep. So Grant's Ass has its station right here because it's really the only proper location I can do that for. Plus, again, over to the east, you also have accessibility at that point directly by not necessarily even having to take I-5 for the people that live over here in like the town of actually Rogue River and then Gold Hill? Gold Hill, yeah. Next station, of course, is going to be in Medford. It's a Ford. It's medicine Ford. You're fording medicine like a wagon through pharmaceutical sludge. Shut up. Yes. So this one took me a long time, by the way. I was taking forever to figure out where the hell to put the Medford station. Technically, Central Point is here. Which is actually, by the way, fun fact, Central Point, Oregon, right here, is actually where Symantec started, aka Norton. So the original Symantec / Norton antivirus, when it was still relevant before it became basically itself malware, spyware, adware, is it was started by a company called Central Point Software in Central Point, Oregon. Sorry for the background noise. And of course, the last station at the southern end of the line would be at Ashland. And good old Ashland, Oregon. Home of the Oregon Shakespeare Festival, along with a handful of other decent-sized events. And also home now of Les Shroud for the last, like, 5 to 8 years, I believe. AKA Survivor Man. Who, by the way, is also a fabulous musician, turns out. He's a great musician. And also, yeah, I believe this is I saw a spot of this, like, from this far out, or no, sorry, from this far out, and I'm like, that looks like a Q400. Bombardier. Bombardier. It is, in fact, a Bombardier Q400, also known as a Dash 8. Yes. I assume it's probably Horizon Airlines. I have no idea, which is technically Alaska, but there you go. And that, my friends, is all the stops and the entire length of the Cascadia Intercity Express / Intercity Rail Network and line. And I feel like I struck a really good balance in terms of compromises between station sites, between the towns and the cities that would get served along this Linus Claser. I will plop the key once again, just like I did in the beginning, over here on the left side, over the ocean, over the Wonderfuga plate. Oh, jeez. Let me know what you guys think about this concept in the line below. Jesus, I am not functional. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts about this are, and I highly encourage you to check out the rest of this series. And this, so far, is phase 1. This is the actual completion, unlike what I said in the last one. This is actually the final video of phase 1. Like I said in the beginning, next phase we'll be focusing on doing a links type of concept, but for the Bay. I knew I was going to say that too. The Puget Sound region. And then after that, I'll probably be focusing on the Fraser Valley system. So phase 2. And then phase 3 will basically be actually doing like full on networking between the main populated areas of these states. So Oregon, Washington, and then the rest of the states as well. There you go. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you on whatever my next video might be. Until next time, stay safe out there, or not, it's your choice. And I'm gonna go punch a baguette in the face.